Mabuhay, everyone. This is Reverend Reg, and today is June 11, 2021, and it's 44 minutes past 11 a.m. here in Manila, Philippines. And today I'm so excited because we have the founder and the book author for the Destiny Tea Room. But I'll check on the book title because I'm looking forward to reading it, and I haven't just had the chance to do it. But the Destiny Tea Room is actually a creation of Kate Denning. And just to give you all a brief background of Kate, she is the owner of the Destiny Tea Room, formerly known as the Rendezvous Tea Room in Wollongba, but I'm going to ask her if I'm pronouncing it correctly. She is an author, clairvoyant, psychic, spiritual teacher, and mentor, and has a wealth of knowledge and experience within the spiritual realm. Kate specializes and teaches several modalities, including tea leaf reading, clairvoyance, palmistry, tarot and oracle card readings, pendulums, meditation, manifestation, positive energy, and she believes in the power of manifestation, positive energy, personal reality, and she has used these beliefs to rebuild her life after going through some traumatic life events and is now living a wonderful and fulfilled life with her fabulously supportive husband. She enjoys her gypsy wagon, which she uses for events at people's places and expos, and has written a book on tea leaf reading with the history of the tea rooms in Brisbane and including some of her own spiritual journey in the book, The A to Z of Tea Leaf Reading by Kate Denning, which was published in March 2019. And on top of that, she also teaches workshops in crystal ball gazing, palmistry, and tarot card reading while helping and supporting her students and others start their own businesses. She hosts several events at the Tea Room to help her students with confidence in doing their readings. Do you want to know your purpose or what's coming up in your life for the future? So, this is something that she does thoroughly well. So, without further ado, let me welcome Kate. Good morning, Kate. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you very much for that introduction. That was pretty good.
Yes. I'm so excited to have you here on the show because number one, I don't really have an idea about tea leaf reading. Although I would hear it every now and then from friends, I haven't really met anyone personally who has done it except you, and apparently it's online. So,
It's pretty big. Like tea leaf reading has been around for so long,
uh-huh.
and it also originates from other forms of scrying as well. And the
Mhm.
symbols are they're universal, so all around the world you can use it for coffee grounds, for looking into crystal balls, looking at the clouds in the skies, and seeing the symbols, and then just what that means to you.
Yeah, beautiful. And you talked about the word universal because it's funny when we talk about the word universal, a lot of people will just nod their heads in agreement, thinking that you know what you're talking about. But, when I talk to a lot of people, especially the audience in the show, and I ask them specifically what they understand about it, apparently they don't really understand it. So before we go on any further, please let us know what you mean by universal, just for the sake of our audience.
Okay, universal meaning like worldwide. It's like, we've got that one common factor. It's we're all one. We might have we might have different languages. We might look different. We might be different colors, but really, at the end of the day, we are all the same. And the meanings of a certain symbol. You might have like the cat can be a friend. It could be someone that you need to also be wary of too. A seated pussycat in Chinese symbolism is good luck. So
Mm.
there's a whole lot of a tortoise could be about you moving.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you just look at there are a few different variations, like in some countries, I see the bat as something that's very auspicious.
Mhm.
They're very family orientated, and the sonar of the bats being able to pick up on things around them being very sensitive. But in some countries, the bat does mean death.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
you've got a few variations like that, but on the whole, the symbols
Mhm.
are universal, and you can use it for all different types of scrying, whether it be tea leaf reading, looking at your coffee grounds, looking at patterns on tiles on the floor, or on the walls, or in the clouds. Yeah.
Awes- Wow. I love that you talked about the coffee grounds because I'm a big coffee lover. So I didn't realize that it's all similar, especially what comes to mind for me with tea leaf reading is patterns. And one of my guests here in the show is an astrologer and a numerologist. So I'm not sure if it's the same because it has to do with patterns. Please enlighten me.
I think they all complement each other. I use a
Mhm.
variety of things, and that's because I like to mix things up a little bit too, but they complement each other. And you'll also find that, like with palmistry and astrology, you can work them in line with each other. The Indians are amazing when it comes to palmistry, and relating it back to even your health, because palmistry is scientific, like
Wow.
astrology is really scientific as well too. So people that have got that analytical brain, or they need to have things proven to them, that's really good, because having that scientific background. Yeah.
Hmm. Awesome.
Does that make
Any,
sense?
yeah. Anyway, Kate, I want more people to participate. So let me just check on my Facebook so I can share our show on the wall and more people can participate and they can ask questions because this is something that's very interesting. Especially we know that with many things happening around the world, we have to be able to look at other perspectives and how we're going to approach the new normal. So I'm not sure how it is in your place
But
right now. Hmm.
isn't it wonderful that we can do this, and you're in the Philippines and here I am in Australia,
Yeah.
and we've got technology where we can communicate and we can see each other. So we're still connected. And I just think that's
Yes.
absolutely fabulous. And there'll be a lot more of this too, people doing stuff more online. And you can get around the world just by being online. Such a
Yes,
simple
exactly.
connection. I love it.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, I'm very grateful that this particular situation globally has opened doors for greater participation and collaboration with each other because you get to know more people and I'm learning a lot from my guests. And one of the things that I feel so amazing is that you realize that metaphysics in many different forms is actually practiced across the globe.
Mm. And it doesn't really matter where you are. You don't need to be face to face. I
Uh-huh.
find that when I'm doing readings online, that
Mhm.
it's more senses come in. So I actually find that my senses can be a bit stronger when I'm actually doing online work. So I'm
Mhm.
picking up more of what's going around. And,
Wow.
I love that word collaboration, because I think that's the word for the year, collaboration.
Mhm.
It's getting there, it's helping other people, it's working with other people, it's sharing your gifts, because there's only so much one person can do. And I have space I'm at the Destiny Tea Room in Wollongabba, which is in
Yeah.
Brisbane. And
Mhm.
I share this space with other people. So they'll come in and do their readings. I don't do astrology, and I
Mhm.
don't do healings. I can, but I choose not to, because I've got other people that do it way better. So why not have them in and share it around? And also too, people aren't going to necessarily go, they're looking for a particular type of person, and we're not going to all be suited to one person or be able to do what it is that they want. So if we can have that collective and be able to, be able to help everybody that comes in.
Yes. Kate, I truly agree with what you mentioned because that's how I feel about guesting people in my show. I feel that, imagine I have over 2,700 plus friends right now on Facebook while I'm growing my channel in YouTube. And the reason why I love guesting people is exactly what you said. You can't be the right person for those 2,700 people. There's always going to be someone who's going to resonate with somebody else. So that collective will actually enhance each other's capacity to be more productive. And it's such a beautiful thing that you mentioned because it really has to do with having an abundance and limitless consciousness. And I'm sure, Kate, because you talked about your personal transformation and your own personal journey was one of the foundations, I believe, why you're doing what you're doing now. While I was reading your
That was
bio,
huge.
yeah,
and
and
you know what? As scary as it was at the time, I'm really blessed that actually happened because I wouldn't be here now. And I really enjoy my life. I enjoy what I do, and it's the best part of my life.
yes,
I'm just having so much fun and working with what I love doing because I've always wanted to do this, but never felt like, because it's not a traditional career.
yeah,
And, with my parents, I didn't want to talk about what I was picking up on because I was a very quiet, shy child. You wouldn't think so now, but, I was too scared to say boo. And, through having the trauma that happened in 2010, it really changed my perspective on life and to enjoy life. And if I couldn't do something one day, if I couldn't get out of bed, well, that was okay. I just turn a meditation on and I'd use a healing meditation and I'd just lay in bed and I'd work on getting better. I just knew that I would be fine. And a lot of people give up and, the doctors say to them, life is not going to be the same anymore. Well, I disagree. It's mind over matter. And if you want to be better, if you want to get out there and get past those things, you just trust in your guides, or God, whatever it is that you believe, that everything is going to be fine. And you
yes,
just work on it.
yes,
And I have
beautiful.
had a wonderful, supportive husband too, which does make a big difference. I know a lot of people don't have a partner like that, but I'm extremely lucky.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Kate, because I'm also a believer that our relationships can actually double up our results or, provide that extra cushioning we need when we're not feeling at our best. And manifesting a partner isn't exactly something that's easy for a lot of people. So as you keep talking, I want to shine the spotlight on you. Please go ahead and let us know what your journey was like, especially I think it really puts you in a different frame of mind when you came from a traumatic experience and then you start making your life work for the better. And I love that you talked about enjoying what you do because to me, it's really very important. I have a firm conviction that we can do anything, you can have any part-time jobs, but for me ultimately the foundation has to revolve around doing what you love to do before taking on other things. So please explain more about it and I'll shine the spotlight on you.
Okay, so let's go back to my husband and manifesting, I did write out a list of what I wanted in a man. And it was 6 months later that I actually met him. And I had two bad marriages before. You know, I did sort of hate on men there for a bit. You know, and I knew everything would be okay. Then, and that's the thing, you've got to know in your heart and in your soul that it's going to be okay. Even when you feel bad and you're not in a good day, you know, that happens and you just let that pass. Now, I also carried this with me, and in, I think it's Rhonda Bryan's book, she's got her magic rock that you put on your bedside table and you've had through the day, because you want to try and remember all the good things rather than the negative things that have happened. So I wear mine to remind me about all the good things that have happened. Plus, I also tell every single day too. It's so important to think, you know, what it is that we're grateful for. And even if it's just that we've woken up, you know, because when going to 2010, I was living the party life. I was working in the corporate world and I was drinking and smoking a lot, and it all came crashing down on me. I developed Crohn's, which was stress related, through work that I didn't like doing, and having mean bosses and taking too much on board. So I developed Crohn's, which ate away part of my bowel. I had a contained perforation, and the pain of that caused me to have a heart attack. Not that there's anything wrong with my heart, and I've recently had that checked again. I had 2 mini strokes. I dropped down to 43 kilos. And I was put on a disability pension and told that life wouldn't be the same, that I wouldn't be working anymore. I was in hospital for about 6 weeks. Anyway, it was when I got out on the 19th of December 2010. And I lit up my last cigarette and I thought, what are you doing? Seriously? I put that cigarette out.
Wow.
I went back to bed. I put on a meditation CD, and it was Adoring Virtue Angel Medicine. And that was part of my healing journey. And when I couldn't get out of bed, I would just play that over and over and over again. And I just knew in my heart that everything run something spiritual and be there for other people and work with my intuition. So I would then go to classes when I could. And the first thing I learned was palmistry through the U3A, which is University of the Third Age. And this is for people that are retired and they volunteer their time to teach different subjects, whether it be art or computers or dancing or traveling. You know, they're there to support, they're there for the older people with disabilities, which was me. So,
Wow.
you know, I've had a journey along the way. I've met so many awesome people, really, like, it's just such a big difference to where I was before. The people that I hang around with now, that I visit, or that come to my place, they're here, they're on their journey too, and we all share our things with each other. It's just incredible. It really is.
It is, Kate, and I want to applaud you for that. You know, I want to applaud you for that because it takes a lot for a person to have that knee-jerk reaction where, you know, a lot of people, they can just go down the rabbit hole so easily and not be able to pick themselves up when they're in their most desperate, trying times. But you reversed it, and For some
Mm,
reason, that's how I believe that there's infinite intelligence, source energy, higher power, whatever it is that people want to call it. God here in the Philippines, it's still a word that's very much acceptable when it comes to talking about the Almighty presence. And I love that you just came out of it so gracefully and as a better, more complete person, because now you're helping a lot of people, unleash whatever it is that they don't even know about themselves, especially their positive qualities. I think
mm.
a lot of us are totally unaware of how important it is to, be able to live up to your full potential, to your greater potential, and the best that is in you. And I want to ask you, why do you think do people go down that confusing state of life? And most of the time, it primes people for an awakening.
Look, some people they play the victim. I think any attention is better than no at all. So, they may go about getting attention in the wrong way. And I want to say too, like if you're around people that are quite negative and and very sick, it's okay to back away too. Because it's not your story. You just leave them to their own, and you can find you've got to be so careful because you can find that you actually start dwelling yourself. And I've not had a crash hot past. I don't want to go back and look at that with what happened because I'm blessed with where I am. So it's okay to say yes, I understand because I have been there, but not get caught up in the whole story again. So if you can put it aside, and I think when I did have those bad times, I would think about things that I really did enjoy, and I say it's okay to fake it, to make your body pretend that everything is all good when it's not, because it's past it. You need to get through it, the negative, and that's them. That's part of their lifestyle and where they're going. A lot of the time you can tell with the people that come in, because I do palmistry as well, and you can have a look at someone's hands and it tells you, if they've got very knobbly fingers and they're all sort of bent and twisted, you know that they're going to be the type of people that hold on to things from the past and they can become very bitter and
Wow.
not a very person. So look at people's hands all the time because it's like reading one's face too. It gives
Wow.
them away, with and you can look at their fingerprints as well, and even the fingerprints will tell you a story. Like the archers are going to be people that are very skeptical and
What about me? I
not
mean, because
necessarily believe you.
because for me, I lift.
For
I'm a
sure.
power lifter, so because we lift weights, we of course our palms aren't really as as soft as possible because as much as possible we want to lift the bar as it is, and we
Well,
use
that's okay
chalk
because,
to.
like, you're getting calluses there too, aren't
Oh
you?
yeah, we
So
do.
that's also
We do.
building up your strength inside, because
Hmm.
the inside of your palm is what's inside you too. So
Wow.
if you're really, because mine are really soft like silk, and that's what I'm like inside. But sometimes we can toughen that up, which helps toughen us up inside as well.
Yes, thank you for that, Kate. Anyway, I just want to make sure that our internet is doing well. So I closed other windows in my laptop and phone. Is it the same for you? I mean, because I think somehow our internet is breaking up. Will you please do me a
Yeah,
favor and
I
check if
noticed there
you?
was a bit of lagging time. Yep,
Yeah.
bit of lagging time there.
Awesome. Anyway, this is very interesting and I love it because it helps people get to know themselves better. And like what you mentioned, that our hands can tell us whether, you know, we are unconsciously bitter, or we can also be unconsciously generous and welcoming. So is there something like that in palmistry?
So if I do see something on the hands that does good, the shape of the hands or the fingerprints, know that you can change it. So if there's an island there that could say, there's possibly an illness up or you stress out too much, no, if you change your attitude or if you go to the doctor and have a blood test to see if there's anything wrong, or you change your diet, it can change things. So with my husband, he had a broken lifeline and a broken heart line. It was about a centimetre break on each, and it was around 55. And anyway, I said to him, you need to stop smoking. He's smoking about 3 cigarettes a day, and I'd already stopped, but he didn't smoke at home, so it wasn't worrying me. But when I saw those breaks on his line, I said, okay, I think you need to stop smoking. Within 3 weeks of him giving up cigarettes, those centimetre lines had just about joined together, and that was only about
Wow.
3 weeks. Before that, I'd only read it in
Wow.
books. But to see it change so quickly is just incredible. So you've got your fate in your own hands. You've got free will. So on the way you think. Some people can be, oh well, that's not going to happen for me because I've just had bad life and nothing ever good happens to me. That's because they're thinking and they're actually drawing that into them, to themselves. If you think things are going to be bad, they will be. You just need to
Yeah.
change those thoughts and know everything's going to be okay. I know it sounds like really simple, but it is. It doesn't need to be difficult. You don't need to overthink it. You don't need to overanalyze it. Just know in your heart that everything is going to.
Beautiful. And I want to ask you, Kate, because it's amazing that you talked about everything is gonna be okay. But I think it's also in the details of how things are gonna pan out that makes the monkey mind worried and
Mm,
anxious. And that's why I always find it very helpful to have this kind of language, tea leaf reading, palmistry, and the other modalities that you're using, because I think one of the best ways to quiet the mind, the inner mind chatter, especially if you're not yet used to meditation and going within, because I feel that one of the best reasons why people go to a tarot card reader, an oracle card reader, a palmistry session is because people want to quiet their minds, but they don't really know how. But this language helps them have a, helps them understand themselves better and what is actually going through their lives. Especially, I love that you mentioned that your life is in your own hands, and for a lot of people, it simply is not the case because, like what you mentioned earlier, people fall prey into the victim consciousness, and people are just
yep.
getting educated right now that their lives are actually unconsciously, for a lot of people who are not yet awake, are shaped by themselves. And I'm very sure you have a wonderful perspective on it. So please let us know, how
Yeah,
do you
and
explain to your
don't get
clients, yeah, that their
don't
lives is
get me wrong
actually.
about that either, because people, they've had things tough and they've had bad things happen to them, and I have. But I think at the end of the day, it's how you react to that as well too. Like, you can be a drama queen and get help from poor me, and things have been bad. Um, I just find, yes, things are still going to happen. I mean, you look at what's happening around the world at the moment. And media can upset people, the fear mongering that goes on. But I choose to shut off from that. I don't really watch the news, and people might think I'm ignorant. I do know what's going on out there, but I choose to step back from it because I know it is what it is, but at the same time too, I know personally that I'm going to be okay. It's a bit of a tough one because circumstances with some people, living in poverty and homeless, they've got their own story. So look, when someone comes in here to see me and they're feeling lost, they know what their purpose is, things have gone wrong in their lives, I will try what I want to do is when they walk out my door, I want them to feel like they've they feel empowered again. They feel like they've
Beautiful.
found their purpose. They feel better when they walk out the door than what they did when they came. That's my mission, to people feel better and find what their purpose is.
Beautiful, Kate. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think one of the best things that I heard from you today is that, whatever it is that's happening around the news, because it's true what you're saying. It's very simple, but you also know that whatever is happening in the news, it is what it is, but you know that you're going to be okay. And although it's so simple to hear, it's common sense, but it's not, commonly practiced. And that's why all this
Mm,
worry, fear, and doubt, people are unconsciously aware that if they keep nourishing their minds with whatever it is that they pick up in the news, they don't realize that it's really shaping their perspective some way. And that's why they're also attracting in their personal lives the equivalent of whatever frequency they have unconsciously programmed themselves by watching the news. And I'm sure you
mm.
can talk more about it with your experience.
And I mean, and look, we're all entities, so we are going to mirror image what's going on around us as well too. So if you are with people with lower vibes that are toxic, that are negative, yes, that's going to rub off on you, and it's okay to step back. I had to step back from family members there for a while, and I've sorted those things out, but it was also part of my healing journey. So it's okay to step. Now, when I had the strokes, I also had trouble remembering things. So I would start writing things down. And that's actually how my book, The A to Z of Tea Leaf Reading, came about. Because in the back section here, I've got a section on synchronicities. And is what you think about comes about. And I was noticing what I was thinking was almost happening straight away. So I was very aware that I had to keep my thoughts positive. So this was the date that I actually started writing this was the 10th, the 11th, 2012. 10, 11, 12. Okay, so pretty auspicious date, isn't it? And I do look at the numbers. So when we started this in your time, it was 11:44.
Mhm,
So I look at all of those things and I know that they're signs. And I also I've poured myself a cup of had my drink, what was in the bottom, and that looks like a whole lot of people working together and all sitting around together discussing things as a team. And like I was saying, like I feel like collaboration is the big word for this year.
yes.
Even though, we may not be together, but it's still about working together, okay, and raising those energies, raising those positive vibrations. Now, I had, when I started writing things down, what I was seeing, that it would turn into a, and it's like it happened on its own. I wrote about this shop that I'm sitting in right now when it belonged to my dear friend. Now, he passed away. This book came out 3 months before he passed away, and I've written about him in my book. And so it was a bit like a memoir as well. So without even realizing what I had written about my beautiful friend, and he got to see it before he passed away. Only 13 days before he passed away did he see it. It was a tragic accident here. And through running my very first workshop here, I also had to write notes down for the class. So again, you know, it's all there. The stories, leaf reading come from the history of tea leaf reading. Up until 2002, it was actually illegal to do any type of reading here in Queensland. You could be arrested and thrown in jail for a year. Can you believe that? So fine. But anyway, that law's been squashed.
Yeah. And
I've had a really interesting journey. Yes, and you were talking about my gypsy wagon before. I'm hoping to actually spend more time out in it. I'm going today, gypsy wagon. I've just been up to Hervey Bay, which is about 4 or 5 hours away from here, and spent a week up there running workshops and doing readings and promoting my book. I've been up the top of Queensland, which is probably about a 3-day trip, you know, because Australia is quite big. So
yeah.
been out on the road with my husband doing that, and I hope to be doing more of that.
Thank you for sharing it, Kate. And thank you for the beautiful, heartfelt work that you're doing. And I love that you talked about the mind, and which reminds me again about mental health, because all over the world we're becoming more and more aware about mental health and our emotions. And you doing this actually brings more awareness to a lot of people why they have to take care of that aspect of themselves. Especially you teach meditation yourself. And another thing that I want to bring up and ask you about is, here in Australia, I'm very sure a lot of people are also becoming more aware about mental health. In fact, a colleague of mine who's also a painter and an author about mental health was emphasizing the need for it. And I want to ask you, in your own place, how do you get people to pay attention to their mental health, because we know that all of that is not just affecting one's personal energy, but it's also a projection towards the collective. When we're thinking high, positive, beautiful thoughts, of course, we feel good about it, it uplifts us. But something that's still a puzzle for a lot of people is thinking, does it really have any effect in the field environment? What can you say about it?
Okay, it does, and we need very carefully to people with mental health. So it's funny that you asked that, because someone that was here only like ago, he was a schizophrenic. He's on and he's doing quite well. And I have a few of them. Do you know they still do electric shock treatments now? I've got a couple of my customers treatments.
Mhm.
With these people, you know, that was another reason why I kept this place open, is because when Luke was here, he had some special customers, and this was a safe place for them to come, because not everybody understands them. It's hard, and you know, you need to be patient, and you need to be careful what you say to them. You'll find a lot of them are very religious and believe believe in God, and when you come into the spiritual realm, you need to be careful of what you say, because witches can scare them, and I think really all witches, we all practice it's about connecting to the earth
Yes.
and looking after Mother Earth. That's what it is to me. But you need to be careful what you say, because we've had this fear driven into us for centuries. I read something on Facebook the days ago, a post. It's like, we were taught to be scared of witches, yet why weren't we taught to be scared of the people that actually burnt them at the stake?
Yes, of course.
They burned people alive, and we weren't taught to be scared of that. So that's a bit
Yes,
warped.
yes.
So I think that, like, you need to tread very carefully with them. You need to be understanding, and it is a chemical imbalance, so they need to have their medications. They need that to stay stable. And it can upset me a bit when I hear people say, but they shouldn't be patients. They should try and, like, heal things, in their mind. Well, these people can't necessarily do that. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
this one also had autism as well. So you need to be very careful with what you say. There's so many people in our industry that make it bad and give us a bad name. But each person's different. You've got to treat them as an individual and sit down and listen to them and what they have to say, and understand them to be able to help. And I've never done like a counselling course or psychology course or anything like that. I think that is just common sense. You've got to be
Mm-hmm.
gentle
Yeah.
with these people. You've got to, just listen and be positive.
Kate, I love that you're talking about this because one of the things that I think people take for granted because they think it's so basic is this being positive, and also this the thing that you mentioned about listening. It's so important. I find it a very healing thing to do for someone, especially a lot of us were so excited with all this technology that's available to us, and we think that we can just randomly talk to anyone that we want to through chat or uh, anything like that. But right now, listening is becoming a very important activity to do, especially for people who are going through something heavy, whatever that may be for them. Maybe it's taking a toll on their physical health, their mental health, relationships, or even money, because those four things right now are very, very vulnerable for some people who have no control over it because they don't know that things begin with themselves. And like what you mentioned, the fact that that you've moved past something, somehow it does something in you that makes you more compassionate towards other people. But for some healers or counselors, it's not the case because there's the
Mm.
quickness or the sharpness of the mind that expects other people that you're supposed to be okay in a snap because I went through it, I did this myself, you should be able to do it that way too. Something like that that's being passed on. But we know that spiritual healing
Yeah,
is a
and I mean,
process. Yes.
you can give them suggestions and what it is that you've done for yourself, but at the end of the day, it's up to them. Can't you can't change people. You can give, and you can be there to support them. It's up to them at the end of the day what they choose to do.
Thank you for that, Kate. It's so beautiful to have you in the show. I had such a great time, especially about the hands. That's very new to me. I would love to know more about it. And I know that you have a client waiting for you. And I know that we're going to have another time for you next week, hopefully Friday as well. So, anyway, Kate, I always ask my
Okay.
guests here in the show if there's one perspective that you want to leave with me and the rest of the viewers, what would that be so that we can immediately take action?
Oh, one perspective. I want to say, I don't know, keep it real and keep it simple. Things don't have to be hard and complicated. Um, I'm a very simple person. I call myself like a surface dweller, but I do have to go in a little bit deeper, especially for the analytical. But keep it simple. It doesn't have to be hard. Okay, and when you meditate, it actually helps you accept things better. You're not going to change things, what's happening around you, but if you meditate, it actually helps you just, I don't know, better. So,
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Kate. And I had such a lovely time, and I trust to see you again next week. So, for those people who want to
thank
keep in
you
touch with
so
you,
much for that.
you're welcome. Where can they find you?
Okay, so my page is the Destiny Tea Room,
Mhm.
or you can get me on katedenning.com.au. That's my website. I am still going through the stages of building the website. The other website that I've got is
Mhm.
thespiritualrealm.com.au.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thespiritualrealm.com.au.
And my book is The A to Z of Tea Leaf Reading, and it's $20. So if you can get that
Awesome.
online anywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kate. And I'll make sure to post
Oh,
it.
and quickly too, we've got a big expo here, Mind Body Spirit Expo, which is coming to Brisbane on the 9th, 10th, and the 11th of July. So that's our biggest expo that we have here. And I only just got notification today that I have been invited to do a talk there on Friday and on Saturday on tea leaf reading and my book. So I'm really looking
Wow.
forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Kate. And I'm very sure a
Oh,
lot
thanks
of
for letting me
people
do it.
will actually enjoy it and learn a lot about themselves because it's funny how people think that you get into this because it's an amazing experience, but it's not necessarily just for you having the session. But I think really for modalities like this, it's really uncovering more about yourself that you didn't know.
Mm.
So anyway, Kate, thank you so much for your time and have a great day.
Oh,
So
thank you very much for that, Reverend Reg. And
yeah.
keep it simple.
Yes, thank
Bye
you
for
so
now.
much, Kate. All right, have
Bye.
fun. Satnam, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I just met Kate today, actually, and it's so amazing to know that metaphysics in many different forms and many different modalities is actually allowing us to know ourselves more, especially for me. I didn't even know that our palms can talk a lot about our personality and how even the calluses builds inner strength, something like that. So I trust that you're all able to pick up something today and that you're able to actually take action from whatever it is that you picked up from her. I love it that she was able to overcome negative habits and she's able to create the destiny tea room today. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, I think there's always another level of you that really wants to shine. So, Satnam, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Have fun always.